So welcome everyone. This is 12 April, and the reading from Emmett Fox is titled "A Door Opens." He writes, "Change is the law of the universe. Without change, the world would not merely remain a static state, but it would soon become stale and stagnant. Without change, there would be no progress, for change is the essence of betterment. It is obvious that to do anything in a new and better way, there must be change. Many people look upon change with dread and foreboding. But for those on the spiritual path, for those who believe in God and the power of prayer, change is a fuller expression of life. When a problem or condition arises in your life that indicates a change, rely upon God and realize that it is not so much that a door has closed on a chapter of your life, but rather that a door has opened on a new and more but rather that a door has opened on new and more interesting things." And then from Revelation, "Behold, I make all things new." That's Revelation 21:5. And the Lamsa translation is absolutely identical. So today, we're changing up. I'm not talking, Lori Kay is. Lori, kindly tell us what the topic is. I have forgotten the title.
Oh, so have I, but it has to do with the path of least resistance.
Go for it.
Okay. So I feel like I've been channeling my life for the last 2 weeks. It's been extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. I've worked for the last 4 years on the idea of we're already that, I'm already that. How do I allow myself to be that? Because that's the question, isn't it? We can believe all these things, we can say all these things, but can we live these things? So the last 2 weeks have been completely extraordinary. And here's what I want to share with you. A couple of aspects of the fact that you, with your body, your emotions, doesn't matter how messed up you think you are, doesn't matter how miserable you feel, you are literally a beacon. You are literally a beacon. You're a beacon of energy. You are a trending. You are a collection of colors, and they are specifically yours. Your physical body is an amplifier of your feelings, your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitudes, your expectations. But if you're not feeling like I'm doing well, my life is the way I would like it to be, this is not because you are wrong. It is not because you are flawed. It is not that. And this is very subtle, but this is the way that both religion and even spirituality, possibly without meaning to, have kept us locked with this base idea, this basic idea that we have of I'm doing something wrong. I'm being something wrong. Something's gone wrong here. And we've been so enculturated and so mentally and emotionally hijacked to work hard on ourselves, to believe that if we're going to shift, if we're going to transform, it has to be really painful. That's just what I call a patriarchal loop that wants to keep you in not succeeding. Okay? What you really want to practice is your existing coherence with your true self. Your connection with your own divine nature is constant. That thing we call grace is like rain, and it's always freaking raining. Grace is always here. It's always here. This is very frustrating information. Like if it's here, where's my boat? Where's my health? Where's my money? You know, it's like, that's great. Where the heck is the result? And we go back into the patriarchal loop of I'm not worthy, I have more to learn. And we're always learning. We're always going to be growing. It doesn't matter. When you leave your body, you're still going to be growing. Energy never stops. It just transforms its shape. I've watched Amachi, who is, and I've known 3 enlightened beings in my life. I've been that fortunate. And I've watched her change. I've watched her become even more. Like, wait, perfection can be more? Yes. Because perfection in its real form is simple energy that continues to express and then express more and then express more and then express more. More love, more light. So I wanted to be able to talk about this in really physical terms so we don't have one more piece of dogma that we go, gee, that's great. I had a nice time at church, but I can't apply it to my life. Because I believe we deserve to give ourselves that option of, let me see if I can make life easier for me. Let me see if I can make it more merciful to me. Maybe I can make me more merciful to me. So I want to look at it from a physics perspective, and then I want to look at it from a manifestation perspective. Okay. So, you all know I am not a quantum physicist. Okay. Let's be real. Lori is not a quantum physicist. However, I've been doing a lot of reading, listening, and everything that I'm learning about quantum physics aligns so completely with how my life has shifted over the last 4 years that there's no way it can't have relevance. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Energy happens in a wave. It's always in a wave form. But the minute you focus on some part of that wave, one of those millions of possibilities that is always around you, always around us, and you focus on one, it's obedient to that, and it goes from a wave to a particle. In effect, that's what we're doing when we're in these bodies. We are focused in our physical bodies. We're not in physical bodies. We're focused on this reality, which is trippy. But it explains why some people can do psychic surgery, right? Like reach into your body without cutting you open and heal your cancer. That explains that. It's like, oh, if that person is energetically vibrating at the same speed, then there is no interruption of the flesh. It's like in the Matrix, there's just like energy with energy. If you saw the movie The Matrix, I don't know if you did, but at one point, our hero at the end, after he's been killed, and then he comes back to life, he rises again within a few minutes, and then they try to shoot him, and he goes, no, very calmly, no, and he puts his hand up, and the bullets just stop. Seeing the true nature of something, that's the real truth that sets you free. And we can only do this from an energetic, or we can do it most easily from an energetic perspective. So you can do it through love. If you absolutely adore Jesus, Amma, Buddha, whoever, you can do it through that love, as long as you're not simultaneously holding an idea of I'm not worthy. To just allow yourself to feel that is very childlike. And it is how the path of least resistance works. Because the path of least resistance is going to go with what you are most easily and naturally living in vibrationally. So I lived in depression for 40 years because that was my path of least resistance. It was what I expected. It was what I focused on. And so it would ebb and flow, but basically that dark cloud was always over my shoulder, waiting to pounce on me is what it felt like. I did not know. I had no idea that this is actually physics. that physics and metaphysics are the same thing. I didn't know that if I choose, if I use my free will, if I use my power of choice to go, okay, I'm feeling this miserable thing. And instead of trying to push it out, allow myself to be with it, to feel it, to see it, to explore it, to go, I hate this. This is awful. Ugh. But feel it. And then also bring something else to the party. Something else to the party. Like, oh, well, I think I'm really brave to be sitting here listening to this, when it's been killing me for 40 years. My God, I'm amazing. And that doesn't make you go, yeah, I'm all happy now. It makes you feel better. And the feeling better is you changing your source code. It's your source code. We look at it from a different level. We look at it like, here's the emotion, here's the thing that caused it, here's the event that wounded us. And there's nothing wrong with looking at it that way. Nothing at all. I'm just talking about an additional thing that you can add into your consciousness that can be of tremendous worth to you in freeing a lot of these behaviors that you don't like that you do, or that you don't like that you feel. And when you get to the source code, you will find that feeling is much more easily switched, and it radiates out to all of these different behaviors and beliefs. And it's like turning the light on in the kitchen at 2 a.m. The darkness just goes. You're like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to think that anymore. Apparently that's wrong, what I was thinking. I feel so much better now. I feel freer now. It's not about deservability. It's not about worthy. It's, can you let yourself have a little bit of relief? And little is the big. The smaller you can go with this, the more power you're slinging. And we don't understand that, because we're in a culture that tells us bigger is better, and we've learned the lesson well. And we yearn for stuff that is so much different than what we currently experience. And so all we see is the Grand Canyon between where we are and where we want to be. And so we think, well, I can't jump that. That's going to take the rest of my damn life. Well, what I saw the other day in my own head was, you have legions of people standing on one side of the Grand Canyon. That's like all of us standing on one side of the Grand Canyon going, I wish I could be on the other side of the Grand Canyon. I wish I could have that job, that wellness, that whatever it is. Wish I could have that. A few people go, I know we can't really jump it. Like, we're all standing here going, how the hell am I supposed to jump the Grand Canyon? So some of them grab some ropes and they start rappelling down the side of the Grand Canyon. And the people on the Grand Canyon, on the ledge, are going, what the hell are you doing? Are you nuts? I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I'm tired of waiting. And before they know it, these people who've rappelled down the side, they started taking little steps to cross the Grand Canyon on foot. And the people above them are going, well, that's not very far. That's not going to help. Before anybody knows it, they're halfway across the Grand Canyon. And people are looking from the top, are looking at them going, geez, how did they do that? Could somebody give me the 5-step process? I would like to be free. It's not a 5-step process. It's a 1-step process. It's a constant 1 step, then 1 step, and tiny. And you have to feel it. You have to be an absolute rebel against this world we live in and go, screw all of it. I'm going to feel my feelings, and I'm going to give them some air, some oxygen, some respect. I'm going to let myself being a screaming beanie in my own room, my own apartment. I'm going to go, I hate that guy. Ugh! And I'm going to let myself be what I consider ugly, because I now know that if I just let the energy, decompress from this dot into more of a wave, it's going to move. It's not about pushing out or letting out the energy. It's not like you can get rid of it. You can only transmute it. But once you've transmuted it, you're done. You're done. You've done it. It's done. It's complete. Done. And I want to give you some quantum field theory stuff because this is mind-blowingly cool. Okay. So, I told you that energy is like a wave, and then you focus and it comes into a particle, comes into like a dot. Well, apparently, Feynman, whoever that is, Feynman says that a particle does not take one path to where you want to go. It takes all possible paths simultaneously. But the paths of least resistance are where the possibilities reinforce each other. The particle is most likely to arrive where resistance is lowest. So it's not about fixing ourselves. It's about letting ourselves off the hook so we can just have open hands. And that is done through giving yourself a tiny bit of relief. To do more than that is to hamstring yourself because it feels like the frickin' Grand Canyon, like trying to fly across it just because you wanna. No, get your damn ropes. Give yourself a moment of kindness when you hear yourself beating yourself up again. You go, you know what? That's not really very nice. That little moment sounds unremarkable. Like, well, of course it's not very nice. But are you doing it? Are you catching yourself? Are you understanding, feeling, experiencing how mean you are to yourself? Because we've all been taught to do that, you see. We've all been taught, in order for me to improve, in order for me to be happier, I've got to beat the crap out of myself. This is a big fat lie. This is what I call the patriarchal loop. Thou shalt remain unhappy because we want to control you. And the minute you say, I don't want to be in that loop, I want to make me happy, even though I may be living under a bridge, I want to have some relief. Now you are a threat to the system because you're thinking for yourself and you're feeling for yourself and you're connecting directly with your divine essence, whether you call it yourself, the energy, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, I don't care. Also, there's something apparently called the principle of least action. It's foundational to all of modern physics. Who knew? Nature is economical. The universe does not waste energy fighting itself. You know who does, though, right? We do. We do. And then we build reasons why we should. Oh, that thing happened when I was a kid. Oh, I've had this pattern forever. I've had this pattern for 40 years. I can't seem to get rid of it. It's because you've been fighting it. It's not because it's so deep in you. It's not deep in you. It's just a repeated pattern. And you haven't interrupted the pattern enough because you haven't known that that's incredibly useful. You've thought, I'm going to interrupt the pattern to fix myself, and then I won't have to feel that anymore. No. You interrupt the pattern knowing that you are interrupting that flow of energy, which is your source code, which is who you are, and it's what God is too. And I was working with AI on compiling some physics facts for you, and it said, here's a one-liner if you need it. And this really made me laugh. The universe has never once forced anything into existence. Why would you be the exception? So let's talk about manifestation before we close this out. Manifestation is not something we do. You've got to disabuse yourself of the idea that manifestation is something you do. It is not. It is something that you are. It is something that happens because of the signal that you are putting out all the time. It happens because of where you're trending in your expectations. If you're like me for 40 years, you're trending towards, I expect life to really be tough. I did not have any expectation that I could heal that. I didn't have any expectation that life was going to suddenly miraculously reward me with relief and healing. And so it did not. I couldn't get past my certainties. The patriarchal loop is every certainty you've ever had. Because the truth is that you and I are infinite possibilities. We are literally, energetically, infinite possibility. And that sounds interesting, and it sounds great, and it sounds cool. But where the rubber meets the road is when you say, well, if that's true, then why does my life look this way instead of this other way? If I am limitless possibility, what do I have to do? Go, understand, realize, feel. And it's and the part that's problematic is we're so used to thinking in terms of fixing. That's not it. There's nothing wrong with you. From this perspective that I'm teaching you tonight anyway. So you know how people say thoughts become things? There's a teacher, Mike Dooley, who his whole thing is, what did I mean by all patriarchal is condemning? Yeah, the core patriarchal message for all of us, and you can call it the system, you can call it the matrix, it doesn't really matter, but the idea is thou shalt adhere to the structure and not to yourself. And so it's very, very tricky. It's really pernicious because its rule is thou shalt not succeed. You have no power. You have no serious power. And so we train ourselves to go, well, I could get better at this, but I might not, because we never take the power completely for us. We're like, there's some force out there that's either going to give me this good thing or it's going to give me this bad thing. Sure, there are things in life that happen that are not so much fun. That's true. That stuff happens. But I believe that we compound it like mad by unconsciously taking on that idea of I don't really have the power. I don't have the source power. I'm not one with all that is. I'm not one with the divine. Yeah, you are. And I think our job at this time in evolution is to prove that to ourselves in ways that are very small so that we start to emerge from that box. And I think that my experience is that the coherence thing for me is the mind. I want to find all the facts that disabuse me of all the stuff that makes me miserable. I want to prove myself wrong so I can be free. So I listen to Bill Donahue on YouTube because he's really good at that. And I listen to myself and I question. And I use all of my emotions. I let myself get pissed off. I let myself get cranky. I don't do that to other people as much as I'm able to stop from doing that. Do you know what I mean? But it's like letting yourself be in the flow, because the flow is always going somewhere. It's not going to get trapped in you. So when you are in an emotionally coherent state, you're not blocking it. You're not going, I can't have this. I'm not worthy. I'm not there. I'm too ill. I'm too unhappy. When you are in an emotionally coherent state where the mind goes, I'm not going to cling to all of the negative stuff right at this moment. And all it takes is a moment. And I'm going to have some kindness so I have a bit of relief, a bit of openness. Your field extends feet away from your body. People will feel it. Your nervous system will impact other people's nervous systems in such a positive way. So emotion's not the side effect, it's the mechanism. Let yourself have a little relief. Let yourself be a little kind to you. And when you have a minute, look up Bill Donahue and look up quantum physics and understand that when Jesus said the temple of God is within you, it was literal. It's literal. It's your mind, your brain, your nervous system, your voice box, your sexual organs. It's everything. Everything in the Bible is about how you have to come to you to grow. And it's reflected in physics. So how cool is that? That's it.
Thank you. So, let me fill in one thing. She mentioned Feynman, Richard Feynman, one of the most brilliant physicists of the 20th century.
Thank you.
And one of his strengths was being able to take fairly abstruse concepts and explain them in ways that everyday folk could get it, which is like, yeah. There's a book that you all probably would enjoy reading called Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, because he got into all sorts of interesting situations. It was a bestseller, as I recall. You ought to be able to get it for very little money on biblio.com, a good used book source. So, someone else have a contribution? Yes, Charlotte? Here, let me unmute you.
You're on mute, baby. Hold on.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
now you can talk.
Thank you. I want to thank Laurie for her speech. You remind me, Sister Pepper. You took me way back, and everything you said is gospel because we have the power within us to heal ourselves and others. And people don't know they have that within them. They're born with it. It's a gift that God gave everybody. And as Reverend Eastman knows, Sister Pepper used to teach us therapeutic touch healing. And I'm so grateful that I met her and Reverend, and my faith still grows on. In Jesus' name. Thank you. You touched my heart. Thank you, Reverend. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Somebody else with a contribution? Ellie, go ahead.
I got in here a few minutes late, but I think I got the gist of what you were saying, Lori Kay. You were talking about perfection, and a lot of people think from probably society or from what they were taught that means no mistakes, making no mistakes. But in the sense, in the literal sense or the literal meaning, it means to be complete or whole. So completeness or wholeness. So I don't know how you can keep being more complete and more whole when when you have the knowledge or when you know you can better yourself, as you were explaining with the small steps. Because there's a lot of, you were explaining the little is better. There's a lot of things in nature that show that. A stone is little, but it depends on how you use that stone of what it can do. I mean, many of us are familiar with the story of David and Goliath. I don't know if you are. But he had a sling and a stone. And whether that stone was divinely directed, people have had talks about that, or whether it wasn't, or whether he just aimed it perfectly because historical fact says that he did kill a lion and bear that way. It still hit its mark. So the stone being small, great results. Belief or faith. This is a mustard seed, another small example that you can barely see.
But remember, David picked up 5 stones.
Yes. And then a step, a small step. You don't need to have a big one to keep walking. So effort, small effort can have big results. You were talking about expectation, of where you were for 40 years, and that's all you knew of what to expect. You didn't know that you could expect any more because of where you were. But yet, and we learn differently. I've been in similar situations, and when I reached a point, I had migraines for years where I ended up in ER 3-4 times a week. And I literally said, I was standing in the kitchen one day. Imagine that, in the kitchen. I was standing in the kitchen one day and I said, there has to be something better than this. And then that got me on the journey of herbology and how herbs can help the body. And how literally herbs are outside the front door. You were saying everything's connected. So, again, the energy wave particle, everything is connected. I mean, and nature shows us that. We look at the ocean, we can't think to be able to walk across or move across the ocean, but we get in a boat and we can do it. So again, something small, well, I can't do it this way. How about this way? As your, example of the Grand Canyon. And a lot of people, I don't know, you look at nature and you think, oh, that tree is connected to the root system. The root system is connected to the dirt. Well, we see those physical things, but then how do we apply it here? Well, let's see, how can I connect to the mindset of I'm better than what I was taught? What, babe? And as Donovan said with the Grand Canyon, just fly across it. But it still starts with a thought. There has to be a better place than this. Religious dogma is the same way. When you're in that, you can't see a way out. But then when you're standing on the outside of that, you're like, why didn't I see it? Well, I had blinders on. And so, yeah, it was a good talk. It kind of took me back to the places I used to be in. And the reasons I'm not there now is because there has to be something better than this. Maybe that's my 1%. I don't know. Right now with our health journey, I'm looking at the different pharma things and pharma can be helpful, when needed, but I'm also looking at the natural going, okay, if I can find the same benefits in the natural and not have the side effects of the pharma, is it worth it? Of course it is. Again, everything's connected because pharma originally came from the holistic. It's just, what's the word? Twisted. So, Lori K., thank you for your talk.
Thank you, Ellie. Anyone else with a contribution? Okay. Okay, Liz and then Leah. Liz, let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead, Liz.
Lori, I just wanted to say thank you so much. That was very enlightening. I don't have anything to add to it. It was, I like this perspective of getting in touch. It helps getting in touch with self and just saying, what has already been said, there has to be a better way. I like that too. So thank you for contributing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. And Leah?
I like what you had to say, Lori. I wanted you to know that. And I know people have a hard concept about when you say you are perfect as you are, because people think, wait a minute, wait, but I have this, I have that problem. They don't understand you're perfect as you are at this second. And as you grow each second, you're growing stronger as a being, but as stronger as a spiritual, recognizing that this and that. And you're perfect exactly where you're at. And that's what that means. You're not flawed. You're learning. You're learning how to reconnect to the universe, or whatever, like I said, whatever you want to call it. And and so yeah, people tend to forget that we have emotions for reasons. It's not to shut them down. It's to acknowledge them and go, oh, I get it. It doesn't mean, like you said, Lori, you could cuss out whatever, but you're doing it with yourself. You're not cussing the other person out. They might have pissed you off, but you're not going around, oh, look what you did to me. Look what blah, blah, blah. You're not doing that. You're just recognizing the fact they irritated you or created a reason that you didn't know why they triggered something in you. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's acknowledging that, and you are perfectly learning to go higher, to be connected with everyone, everything in the universe, not just here on this earth, but to everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. We thank you, God, for having brought us together, for having cared for us, watched over us up to this point, and for watching over us and guiding us as we depart from here. Help us to hear your nudgings, to follow your way, to represent your love when we're given the opportunity. Help us to better our world, better our lives, show love all around, and help us to return to this community again soon. We say this and pray this and give full thanks to the great divine. Amen.